Hey everyone, welcome to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with Graeme Thomas King from Pretty Little Liars, the Perfectionists. The show follows a group of 3 college friends in the aftermath of the town's first murder. But nothing is as it seems as each student hides behind a secret, a lie, and an alibi. Take a look.
Welcome to Beacon Heights University, where excellence is not an option, it's a requirement.
I'm Allison, your TA.
From mean girl to mentor.
Welcome back to school.
Students here will do whatever it takes to stay on top.
I don't have a choice but to be the best at everything. I don't use this if I have to.
We thrive under pressure. And the pressure is building to a breaking point. And someone is about to snap and kill.
Nolan Hotchkiss was murdered.
Everybody at PHU is a suspect. Everybody.
We all have secrets.
Have you been plotting any murders lately?
Mona, I brought pie.
You had me up and down.
You're about as screwed as we are.
I'm on my knees, so please.
Whoever did this is smart enough to pin this murder on anyone they want.
Where were you when Nolan was killed?
Nothing stays secret forever. I will find out who killed Nolan Hotchkiss.
We don't know each other well enough to trust each other.
Did Nolan have something on you?
Are you lying because you're afraid of him?
He was someone who could push another student to the point of snapping.
I know a little bit about manipulation.
Catch me if
We need to do our own suspicious activity.
Drop the whole role model routine and go back to being the old Allie that we know and love.
you can.
Lying, conniving, duplicitous.
Your words, not mine.
I felt so far.
How do you know that you can trust us?
I feel like I'm back on the hamster wheel, like I'm back in Rosewood.
So what are you looking for?
Secrets. Something's wrong here. Something worse than we've been thinking.
Let's get something straight. No one's perfect.
Everyone put your hands together for Graeme Thomas King.
Thank you.
Good morning.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'd say I'm tired, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling a little bit.
Me
but
too.
I'm excited to be here. I was just saying, I watch this like all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's great for actors. Like always, the
Yeah.
conversations are always so good. So
I do love the
hope-
conversations we
yeah,
have here.
let's hope this one's good.
Well, we're both tired, so we're
Yeah,
starting
so
off
it's,
on the right
I do
foot.
apologize, everyone. Yeah.
So let's talk really quickly about just the phenomenon that this show is. Obviously,
good
it's a
word.
spin-off of, Pretty Little Liars. It had this built-in fan base.
Yeah.
And the fans are responding to that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, which is great. Like it's so positive. Which I said it like for a spin-off, you never know as an audience member what to expect. So I'm so grateful for the support. I know everyone else is. Like just doing the pilot, it was amazing. Just the support on social media and everywhere else. Like, because as I say, you don't know what to expect. It's. I like to think it's a standalone show. Even you've seen it obviously, and like it's a bunch of new characters. It's a new storyline, but. Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm so grateful for that, yeah.
I do love that it has, the bits and pieces that people love about the franchise, but it is its own animal. And I think part of it is because now everybody's a little older and the subject matters are a little more serious and heavy, and you can kind of explore other topics.
Yeah, you mean Alison and Mona, or just the audience?
I think now that it's like based in college and just in general, everything's just like a little older, so it opens up a whole new world.
Yeah, they definitely, with the writing, they definitely geared towards that. There were a lot of adult themes in it. It was pretty scary. A lot of reading, a lot of the scripts and the table reads. I mean, it's pretty messed up, So, and it's a bold move on sort of the part of Marlene and all the writers to make that shift, because you don't know if people are what they wanted in the original show, so they have grown up. But yeah, it's a bold move. I think it's paid off, and I'm very proud of it. And there's enough from what I'm seeing. The audience is still quite young. It's attracting a younger audience, but I know a lot of people who watch the original show are coming across to it, so they're like in their mid-20s or yeah.
and you play Jeremy Beckett.
I do, yes.
And on his wiki, it was like, has more abs than you can count.
I know, yeah, that was so embarrassing.
Is that a lot to live up to?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's like, that was even in like the character description of like when I got the audition, you know, a while ago. It was like more abs you can count, and even during the table reads, it would constantly say it, and everyone would like look at me, and I'd be like, "There's a lot to live up to." Fortunately, I had there was a very good makeup department. They can draw anything. It's amazing. Spray tans are an amazing thing, especially if you're like as white as I am. You know, I had many a spray tan. So yeah, but there's a wiki. Is there? Is there a wiki? What do you mean? Like
there's like character wikis.
Oh,
that you
wiki like
yeah,
fandom.
Yeah, and they just like give descriptions and favorite quotes and kind of
Yeah,
background.
yeah.
People like Jeremy. I mean, he sort of has a lot going on for him. Can you describe this character for people who haven't seen the show?
I like him, you know, like I'll defend him. Well, he's a scientist, you know. He's always, apart from the, you know, loads of abs. He's incredibly intelligent guy who works for Hotchkiss Industries. I can't tell you too much because a lot gets revealed. He's one of those characters who's sort of so far. I think we're on episode 4. You know, kind of in the background. You know, sort of enters into the foreground a few times, but he's kind of in the back. So certainly as the episodes go on, more and more gets revealed, and that goes for all the characters. But he's very charming. He's very witty. When I read it, and when I immediately thought, have you seen Notting Hill? Yeah. I was like, it's Hugh Grant.
I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
Son of a boy, of course.
Yeah. I was like, it's Hugh Grant in Notting Hill. You like that one? It's Hugh Grant in Notting Hill. Well, that's what I thought anyway, which is a lot to live up to. But I was like, you know, particularly the first scene, it was a shame because I don't know if it's going to come back, but the scene I auditioned in was the first time that Jeremy meets Caitlin, which is, it's such a charming scene, and I do hope it comes back because the writing's so good in it. But it's like the scene in Notting Hill when Julia Roberts walks in to the bookshop, you know, and she's very incognito, and there's Hugh Grant standing behind, you know, William Thacker standing behind the desk and sort of doesn't really know what to say, and it's like, that's a terribly good book, you know, that one's awful sort of thing. But it didn't make it. But yeah, I can't remember what was the...
I don't know. I'm just enjoying you talking about Notting Hill.
Well, yeah, it was
we
a
were
lot.
talking about your character, Jeremy.
It was a lot to live up to, and I initially played it like that, of like very like sort of bumbly Englishman, which is quite close to home. So they were like, no, you have to be sexier, like be sexy. I'm like, right, okay. Gotcha. I don't really know how to do that, but, you know. But he's a character, you know, all the characters have a lot to hide, and particularly Jeremy, as far as sort of, I think he's got a lot to hide.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree because I can already see his motive there because obviously he's in love with Caitlin.
Yeah.
Caitlin was publicly dating Owen, and so he was sort of the secret. And I was like, I can see Jeremy.
Yeah.
I can see where this may go.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's serious. Like, there's, you know, during the pilot, and you know, Nolan, what he did to Caitlin is awful. It's awful. You know, if you put yourself in that position as a person, you know, the person that you love with all your heart, you know, I imagine Jeremy he's obviously British. He's probably come over, you know, fairly recently to the States and has fallen in love with this girl, and she's his whole life. And you've got this idiot who's ruining her life. You do almost anything, I think, to protect her, to make her life better. But as you know, aside from that, Jeremy's got this whole other job, which is not revealed yet of what he does. But I know, you know, as a person and as, you know, as the actor, I had to sort of make the decision as to what, because, you know, we almost know as much as the audience, sort of thing. You know, it's literally a script by script basis. And, you know, one of the days of shooting, Marlene like came up to me and actually told me what was happening. I was like, oh, right. But this was quite late on in filming, so I had to like make a choice in my mind, and it wasn't that far as to what Marlene actually told me, which was interesting. So I can safely say he's hiding a lot. Can't speak for the other characters, but he's hiding a lot. And he's got motive, as you say. They all do.
So is that difficult that you do get it script by script, because you can't really, if you don't know the full arc of your character, then does that affect what you bring forward or what you play in a certain scene?
Kind of, yeah. It makes it interesting though, because it's almost you don't know what's going to happen next, and as an audience member watching it, it can almost be a bit like counterintuitive or sort of, I don't know. It's just interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you have to make a choice, and fortunately, my instincts were quite good on this one, but. It's so clear, I think, throughout it that he's in love with this person, and I'm hoping that comes across in it. Like, he's not a bad guy, like.
I don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know that.
And he's English as well, so it doesn't help because that apparently that's just an awful, particularly in this universe of like, if you're English, if you're Ren. You're going to be bad. You're going to be a bad guy. But no, he's a good guy.
For now. We'll take that for now. I don't
harsh.
trust anybody on TV. You never know.
You don't?
Yeah, I mean, that's why
you
it's
probably
fun.
can't. You can't trust Marlene and
That's
Pretty
what I'm
Little
saying.
Liars. And
That's what I'm saying.
You can't, yeah.
I do like the perfectionist emphasis because I think there's a lot of pressures these days. And so what are your just comments on some of the themes that the show tackles and why it's important?
Well, it was interesting when the premiere happened around the time of the the scandal. Yes. It was interesting, really interesting. Fortunately, I didn't really have to make too many comments on that, because I'm not a student in this world. But it's so relevant, from we see it all the time, don't we? Just not even just young people, but people. We put so much pressure on ourselves, and particularly in situations like this of sort of. And the show's very much embedded in social media, not just outside but inside, and that puts so much pressure on ourselves. So that's what I love about it. Marlene's not afraid to comment on that, and it's almost a slice of life in terms of that. You feel for these kids who they're so young and they've worked so hard to get into this school. It's like real life, isn't it? Where people work so hard to get, especially in this country, little to no support almost financially, or to get into your dream school, and then it happens, or hopefully it happens. So yeah, I have real empathy for these kids, and
They have so much to lose.
So much to lose.
Why murder's an option, I guess.
Apparently so. Apparently so. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's an extreme option.
Or at least one of them.
But
maybe.
We
don't know.
Maybe one of them. Maybe two. Maybe, I don't know. You know?
This is your first TV role.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Have you had time to kind of process that your first TV role is on something that is really big and people love?
Yeah, I haven't really. No, I really haven't. It's been crazy. It's been a whirlwind since we shot. Just auditioning for it back in December 2017. It must have been when I first auditioned for it, and then it was a whole. I was in LA doing the screen tests and all this, and next thing I'm in, Portland doing the pilot, and then we're waiting to find out if we get the series, and it was a quick turnaround, shooting the series. I haven't really had time to process it. I think now that it's out, you can kind of take stock a little bit, because it doesn't, when you're doing it, it's kind of, I haven't actually seen that much of the show. So to see it now and see it actually up on screen, it's like seeing myself on screen. It's a strange thing that I'm not entirely used to yet. But I'm so grateful for everyone behind the scenes who showed support, from casting to producers, taking a risk on me and other people as well, like new faces, and as you say, a huge universe of where people's expectations are high, very, very high. So, but we've got a good thing. I'm proud of it. We're all getting super well, and yeah, I'm still processing things like this. Help me process it. This is very surreal, As I said, I was watching these things at home not that long ago, and then to actually be here, it's very crazy. So, yeah.
Take me back to that audition.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you audition for Jeremy, or was it like a
It was a
general?
tape. It was a tape. Yeah. So it was. I did it in London. I remember it very vividly. I was in the pub the night before my audition. This is probably not the best place to be.
Just getting relaxed.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And but I was with an actor friend of mine who was American, and I was like, yeah, I've got this thing for Pretty Little Liars. Have you heard of it? And I kept confusing it with Big Little Lies, and I was like,
Very different
very
show.
different, very
Actually,
different.
not that different.
No, probably not. No.
Somebody still ends up dead.
Yeah, that's true. And who done it? Great show. And he was like, yeah, that's huge. That's absolutely massive. And I was like, I've never heard of it. Like, I just didn't. It made it to the UK, but I think it must have bypassed me, So, but yeah, and I taped for it, and, I did. It was interesting that the first scene, as I say, the scene that I meet Caitlin, I literally did that in one take. That was one take because I didn't know. I felt like that was the best that I could do. Like it was a great take, and that was the one we ended up sending off, and eventually got the to the next stage of it from it. It was. I think I just realised that, but you send these things off and you don't hear anything, and I totally forgot about it. And I was going to LA anyway, and it was I think 2 days before my manager called me and was like, "You remember that thing you taped for Pretty Little Liars?" And I was like, "No, I don't." But he was like, "Wow, they want you to test for it." And I was like, "Cool." I'd never tested for anything before, screen tests. I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, that would be good." So I really didn't know what to expect, and went to LA, and then I think like 2 days later was testing for it, screen test at Warner Brothers, and then did network test for Freeform, and then a chemistry test with Sydney, and I think we waited like a week or something like that, and that was nerve-wracking. Yeah. And then they were like, "You've got it," and I think I cried. I think I did, and then it was a whole visa thing. Don't ask. That came through. Yeah, that's a mess. And then eventually got it, and before I knew it was in Portland, and I was in Vancouver trying to get a visa, I think on the Tuesday, and I was supposed to be in Portland on the Thursday shooting my scenes, and they took my passport away, as they do, so I had to plead with the very kind lady to please give me my passport back on the Wednesday so I can travel. So it was very touch and go. It almost didn't happen. Honestly, it's God's honest, it almost didn't happen. And they had another actor lined up to do it. Wow. Almost didn't happen, so stars aligned.
Well, I'm glad it did.
Me too.
That visa situation is a mess, though. I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
it's so stressful.
It is, but it's stressful for more people in more difficult positions than an actor. Yeah. So I'm not complaining too much.
So did you always want to act? Was this always in the cards?
No, not at all. No, I worked in finance before I actually. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's a good reaction. Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I studied. I studied finance in London, and then went on and worked in finance for a little bit. For about 6 months, I lasted, and I wasn't good at it, and I wasn't know what I was doing. I was acting, which was good practice. But it was a long story, but I'll cut it short. I was on a bus in London, and on the top deck of this bus, just me, and this girl came up, sat sort of where you are, and asked me if I was an actor. And I said, no, obviously not. I'm working in finance, I'm going to do that. But she was like, well, I'm doing a short film. I think you'd be good for this part. You want to audition for it? And I'd never acted before. And I was cripplingly shy as a child. Like, literally, that would be my worst fear. Public speaking, being on stage, no. So it was, wasn't on my radar. But I did audition for it, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. I grew up playing a lot of sport, and I felt a lot of similarities between that, sort of collaboration, creating something, teamwork, and all this sort of stuff. And it didn't matter, being in that audition room and subsequent audition rooms. It doesn't matter where you come from or your economic background or your, anything. Class system's very much still alive in the UK, and I always felt that, particularly working in finance, and but it didn't matter. And that was something amazing, for me. And I just loved, just imagining all these, all this stuff. And that piqued my interest. And eventually I was working in finance and was hating it. So I discovered a book about acting by a guy called William Esper, who has a studio here in New York. And I read it, loved the book. And I just applied to come to the school. And whilst I was in work, I applied for it. And they invited me to come for 6 weeks over the summer of 2006. No, it must have been 15 or 14. And I did, and I quit my job and I came because I knew I had to do something different with my life, and ended up staying for 2 years doing the full-time program here. And and
I
then
love that. I mean, I think that takes a lot of bravery, and I think that's a good story for people to hear, that it's kind of never too late to find your passion and to work towards something.
No, never. And you have to. Like, I think, life's too short, and you're never going to be successful in what you do unless you love it. You're just not, because you put up with highs and lows in every job. It doesn't matter. There's no it's not an upward trajectory. And if you're working in a corporate system or whatever, there's ups and downs. You've got to find something that you love enough to put up with those. And I didn't know it was acting. I knew it wasn't what I was doing. And it just happened to be acting, and that's what I say to people, like, you have to find that, like, you do, don't stop looking for it just because you're getting older. Like, we're all getting older. No, don't stop looking for it. Like, keep searching for it. And I did a lot of stuff, like, I worked in retail. I worked in, like, a yogurt shop for, that was awful. I didn't last long there. But,
What was your favorite flavor?
I kept eating the yogurt, so I think that's why I got dismissed. The chocolate one was immense, and they just had all these sprinkles that you could put whatever you wanted on it. But I literally would just stand in the back and just pour the thing and eat it. And they're like, you're not supposed to do that. I was like, oh, okay. I think I'm going to leave then, I think.
You're like, fire me.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I did a lot of things, but I finally found what I'm willing to put up with the highs and lows for, and it's, yeah.
On that note, is there a certain role or platform or something that you're just, like, the most excited to try going forward?
What do you mean?
Like, is there a role that you've always wanted to play, or would you like to get into theater, or is there just what kind of exploration do you want to do going forward in your career?
I trained in theatre, and being here in New York for so long and London, the theatre's just alive, and I'm a big believer in theatre changing lives. I'm a big believer in it. There's not many avenues. So I suppose I'm answering your question. So I'd love to do more theatre. TV and film pays the bills, but theatre changes people's lives. It changed my life. It's one of few avenues that we can, as a society and individuals, we can be in an environment where we're forced to be present, because we have to turn off our phones and we have to listen and we have to, engage. Theatre, and I say live music is also similar, and sort of even like public speaking and this sort of stuff. It doesn't ask you to change; it tells you to change. I think good theatre does, and good live live performance. It reaches into you somehow and tells you to change, and that's always been magic to me. And I've seen so much magic on stage, and it's made such an impact on my life. And I would love to be able to do that and to give back in a way, I suppose. But it's just fun as well. Like, talking about TV, like, I love The Crown. I would love to do something on that, I know we were talking before about the whole Fantastic Beasts thing.
Yeah, he fooled me.
It did fool you.
I looked at his Instagram. I was like, oh, he's going to be in Fantastic Beasts. That's fantastic. And I was like, oh, so, like, where's that at? And he's like, that was a joke.
That was an April Fool's joke.
But you could be Eddie Redmayne's, like, cousin or brother, so.
I'll take brother, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to do it because I've got it so much recently, the whole Eddie Redmayne thing. Like, people would come up to me in LA and ask for photos and sort of, tell me how much they love me, and the Danish Girl, and and Fantastic Beasts.
Do you just accept it? Are you like, yeah, let's take the photo?
I kind of have to, yeah, a little bit. Somebody from a newspaper in London, actually, I was at a party in London, party in LA, and somebody came up to me and started interviewing me about the Oscars, thinking I was Eddie Redmayne. She whipped out her phone and was like, "Can you just tell me what you thought of this year's Oscars?" And I usually go, firstly, who do you think I am? And they go, oh gosh, you're not him, are you? Like, no, I'm not. But you want a photo? Yeah. So I get a lot of that. But that would be cool to like play. Maybe he could do a spot on The Perfectionist. I don't know. I'm sure he's very busy, but
I see it happening though.
You do?
It's just as easy casting as
It is quite easy casting, but he's got a brother in Fantastic Beasts, isn't he? I think Callum Turner did it or someone. But
you could do it all.
yeah, everyone said that. Everyone
It's
said that.
magic. We can just make another brother appear.
But seriously, I would love to work. Isn't he? He's just great, isn't he? Like, he's the whole package. So I would love to just share space with that man. I've never met him, so I would love to do something.
I'll just like slip in his DMs for you.
Yeah, will you?
Yeah.
Well, he's not on Instagram.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. He eschews social media. I've heard that he's keen, though. Little birdie told me that he's keen, but
We'll keep an eye on the situation. As it
Yeah, please.
unfolds.
Okay, let me know. Yeah.
All right, I know we have a couple questions before we get out of here. Who do we have first? Right here.
Hi. I was just wondering, what was it like to work with Sophia Carson?
I know she was here. Yeah. I was saying she's an angel. Like, she really is. She's so gracious and she's stunning as well. And I was a bit intimidated by her, I think, when I first, worked with her. But she's very professional, and I noticed after the pilot we did, she went round and thanked literally every person in the crew and everyone. And it took ages, but I remember watching it. It was like, that's really amazing. She's lovely. And she does it all, doesn't she? Like, sings. I'm sure she dances. And she's great in the show. And yeah, I'm happy for her. It's a big move for her. Like, she's lovely. Yeah.
Her range in this is amazing. Too.
Yeah.
Dramatic she can be. And it was really enjoyable to watch. Her on screen.
She's had it rough as well. A little bit in the show. Her character. Yeah.
Next question.
What's going on, Graeme?
Hey, mate. How are you?
Good in yourself. Congrats on the show.
Thank you.
Are there any actors or actresses right now on television that are inspiring you right now?
Yeah, big time. I have to say, you see Captain Marvel? Lashana Lynch, who's in it. I can't remember her character's name, but she's a big inspiration for me. We share the same reps and everything like that, and I've only got to know her a little bit recently, but she's always been a huge inspiration for me. She's just a powerhouse of an actor, and she's known, when you meet her, she's no nonsense, and she's like straight to the point, and she's just in it, like the work that she does and the quality, like that girl, she's had to work so hard, and she'll tell you about it, like in London, grafting, and it's paying off now. But like, you look at like her credits of what she's done, it's so quality, and now things are just taking off for her, Captain, and she's great in that as well. Like, and she's just so gracious, and sort of, I just bombard her with questions every time I see her. But seriously, like someone like that, I look up to her so much, and she's given me a lot of time already. Like she's awesome. She really, really is. So, and she's going. I know she's got an FX show. I think she has. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it might shoot here actually in New York. So you definitely keep an eye out for that, because she's going places, and she's amazing. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, she's like she's kind of like my older sister. Yeah. Well, I like to think so. She'd be, if I told her that, she'd be like, "What? Don't be weird."
That's so important though, to have somebody that you can like ask questions and stuff.
Yeah, I do that all the
help you
time.
Navigate stuff. It's gotta be difficult.
Oh, it is difficult, but like, she's just so good, and like, she's just amazing. Like, I think she is. Like, so yeah, she's very humble and very gracious, and I appreciate that, because doesn't always happen in this industry. People get very haughty-taughty about a bit of success, and sort of, like, this is not a serious job. Let's be honest. Like, we're not saving lives. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, whatever. So like, let's keep it real, and sort of, she's one of them. So. Yeah.
It is all make believe, but it
It
is
is.
hella fun to
Yeah,
watch.
it is.
Including this show.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was a fan of Pretty Little Liars.
You were.
And this has just continued my love
Oh, good.
of the show and has expanded the world so much more. So
Excellent.
I can't wait to see where you take Jeremy. I
Yeah.
know it's going to be interesting.
It is going to be very interesting.
And if you guys want to check out, you can watch Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist on Wednesdays at 8, 7 Central on Freeform. Give it up for Graeme Thomas King.
Thank you. Thanks so much.